Hello YouTube, good morning, afternoon, happy, I don't know when I'm gonna get this up, so whatever day it is, happy day. I have a little birthday gift that came in for me for my birthday weekend.
What up?
Pretty stoked, and I had to pick him up in the Skyline. I was gonna be a little bitch and not do it, but I figured I kind of have to. So I went all the way out to 108th and picked him up, and we drove back over to the shop that sadly still does not have a name, and I blame Ryan for that because I think we were making some good progress on names. T-Man, what do you want to call this place?
I call it the shop.
It's called The Shop, but for copyright issues, we can't name it that because I think there's already places called The Shop in Nebraska or close to Nebraska. So it's a place that all the cars reside, and right now we have a really dope collection of 90s JDM here. Cody's car. T-Man's new, yikes! New toy.
Dude, that hood needs to go in.
Yeah, we gotta black that out and put the sad face on it and make it match. I gotta do that on the Skyline, but this is gonna be the vlog where I figured I'd introduce the Skyline to you guys properly and not be a jackass and do clickbait on it. So, cue my crappy handheld cinematics right here.
Don't know how to fall in love, just know how to run this dough up. My heart way too cold, I need some heat before it freeze up. We walk into school and everybody seem to know us. We know you don't be in LA, you just play midnight club. Tell all my old girls that I am too good for a checkup. I'm a wild nigga, turn the party to a nightclub.
So of course Steve can't just appreciate, he can't like, dude, he can't just like look at this car and appreciate what it is, like be like, oh wow, Jake has a Skyline for a daily, like that's sick. First thing he says about it on this video, he goes, looks like a fucking tree branch fell on it. Thanks, man. All right, but what we're saying is that this car was flipped at Ebisu and a bunch of little Japanese dudes came over and rolled it back onto its four toes. Dude, so I was telling Steve I had to take that beanie off because it looks so goofy on this camera, right? And he's like, we need to get bigger beanies next year.
Yeah, mine's just like Scully status. I don't got the real.
All right, my avid listeners and new people to the channel, I'm gonna tell you a secret that I've learned long ago. I put on a lot of beanies in my life, right? Oh, I almost stabbed myself in the chest. The secret to adequate beanie fitment on your head, you go to Dick's, you go and look at soccer balls, and you put each size of soccer ball next to your head. And what's a little bit bigger, you choose that, you get your beanie a little damp, and you stretch it on top of that basketball and leave it for a fucking week before you put it on your head. The second you put it on your head, fits perfect. But before we get to that, we're gonna play with T-Man's new Miata.
Hey, bring that fucking camera over here. Look at this. Wannabe Haggard Garage.
Wannabe Haggard Garage.
So, put the stock Miata wheels on it real quick, and it was rubbing, and we were like, what the fuck is it rubbing on? It's a stock Miata wheel. Shouldn't rub at all. So someone had cut a hole back here for more cambers.
Oh my god, hold up. I can't even see it with the lighting. Dude, that's hilarious.
So it was rubbing right here, but yeah, it's because it's mounted. So I should just
put it back in the OEM hole.
Maybe.
So T-Man was backing this car out when we were putting the Skyline in, and he was like, it had the weirdest sound. We couldn't tell if it was like a seized brake caliper or if it was just rubbing. If you guys can see on this, I don't know if you can, that's gonna be very you know what? Maybe it's not gonna be that positive. Holy shit.
That's a FD squat, man.
Yo, put it on and see how up and down it's gonna be though.
Only one way to find out.
Wow.
Yeah, it might settle, right? I mean,
Actually, I'm a lot fucking closer than I expected.
T-Man, brother.
nah.
He's like, that ain't too bad. Especially with the negative up front. Oh my god, let's just compare. Look at that. We did not do this.
So I just picked up this Miata, and the upper control arm, someone, I think they shortened it, and then they welded some plates onto it so they could add camber instead of just getting arms like a normal person would do.
They're like 50 bucks for those arms.
Maybe 50 bucks, maybe less.
So this is how it sits when we put it in that other hole, I guess. This is how it was sitting before.
So I might just cut off that little plate, because then those stock wheels would fit. Because it wasn't rubbing that much.
So I think that's a perfect way to introduce this car to the gang as well.
It's sketchy.
91 Miata. It's a Type M, see? Let's see, my favorite things about this car is the cup holder. That could cut someone. There was an STI wheel, arguably worth more than the car.
So they had jerry-rigged this. Shout out Pickle, because he did that. It was so loose, because obviously it doesn't fit right, that the wheel would shake like this.
Yeah, but it's sick. You're gonna have like cruise control and like adaptive, you know.
Yeah.
So now he's got, which is not that much more or less sketchy, Grip Royal on there.
No, it's an NRG, bro. They're making official shit.
Excuse me, it's an NRG. Sponsor us, yeah, why not? Sponsor us. My absolute favorite part about this car is the smiley face, but also the stripped and dailied engine bay. It looks like a fossil. Wow. T-Man is probably breathing in asbestos. I moved because I had this sensation that he was gonna chop my knee off with that grinder. Hopefully it's sold by the time it's on this vlog, but that thing's for sale and we're gonna make it look nice, I promise. What's up guys? It's the day after last night, of course. The camera died, we finished up T-Man's Miata, and I was super hungry and I needed some food, so me and Steve went and I ran him back to his hotel. So it's the next day, it's kind of gloomy out, it's like 45 degrees out, but that means, you know, it's above freezing, so I need to work on this car. I just kind of want to like run you guys down about this GTS-T. I'm super hyped about it. It's got its little gremlins I'm kind of battling right now, and last night we were battling one too. The power steering got a whine. I know I need to replace it at some time. I went to tighten the tensioner after some research because I didn't know where the tensioner was at. And the tensioner was backed out about 2 inches with 3 threads left inside of the belt tensioner pulley. So tighten that down and the leak, or not the leak, but the squeak is gone from the belt. The belt looked new, so I knew it shouldn't probably be the belt. So gonna do a fluid flush on it. I added some crappy little like, you know, let's see what it is. This thing, I don't even know what you'd call it, you know, one of those lube guard ghetto lubricant things. But I'm trying to get as much life as I can out of this power steering pump because I can't find one to save my life. Yeah, here's that car in the daylight. I swear to you, it looks so much cleaner on photos and videos than it does in person. Like, this car was well loved at some point in its life inside Japan, but once it got to the US, I think it just kind of hoarded itself around. First thing was first when I got this car, I gave it a deep clean as much as I could, cleaned out the interior, but actually the interior was in a lot better condition than I thought it would be. Little Nardi wheel, we got the Razzo shift knob, Kenwood. I'm probably gonna try and find a OEM R32 DIN for this. I think that's gonna be impossible to find, so whatever. Missing glove box because, you know, I have to have the homage to the first S13 I own. All the lights and stuff work. JDM cool points. Little OEM boost gauge that all the GTS-Ts have. Let's see, what's over there? Oil pressure, gas. We out here, I almost got a full tank, treat myself. Blitz boost gauge, probably my favorite piece of the interior. I love this location. There's usually a stock air vent, kind of like a Miata, you know, the circular air vents that goes there, but you can't really see it when you're in full boost, but it's just cool to have it there and it illuminates at night. HKS turbo timer. I never use it because it's kind of obnoxious. One thing that's really cool, and I didn't know it had until quite recently, these are Impul little like aftermarket. I don't even know if they go on top of it. Maybe they're bolted to it or if it's actual pedal sets, but something super cool, dude. Like, that's very 90s. Ugly GTS-T seats, but they're in pretty great condition besides here. I'm gonna try and save these. I was thinking about putting the ride I have in the S13 into this, but I think I'm just gonna keep it as is. Red sports that aren't made anymore, I really like these. I have this habit of always looking at things too deeply and making them corny, and thinking about how these references play back into my life and all that. And I think it's really cool that the wheels that this car has or look like the ones I bought for the S13, which were replicas of this wheel from XXR. So it's cool to finally own the real set of wheels now that I actually am knowledgeable enough and smart enough to know what the wheels are. When I got a little bit more time, I'd really like to redo these wheels more than just cleaning them up. I'd like to refinish them in like a bronze or a gold color. Threw on the GTR badges that I have from those fenders that are for sale. 4 doors. Little homie hauler. Even though it's my daily and I wanted to get rid of the Subaru to do all the trips, I still have to have something I can bring all the boys in. All right, as for the rear trunk, all the interior seems to be there. I just popped out the kind of the fuselage cover here, and only one of the bolts were there, ironically. And then all these bolts here, I don't know if you can see them, these little tiny guys, they're like an 8 and with just I think a Phillips on top. None of those were tight. So I'm just gonna assume that means there's an aftermarket fuel pump in there that's failing. So I'm gonna buy a Walbro from Alex Edwards, and we're gonna throw that in probably the next few days. If you guys are knowledgeable about the HCR32 chassis, you'd know that this is just a sticker here that someone must have put on at some point. The HCR32s that are like the 4 doors that have this kind of body style in the rear have like a badge that sits about from here to here that's like an embossed raised metal. So this is basically replicating the coupe version of these cars. Go with that. I kind of like the way it looks, and I'm not really a purist when it comes to like that specific sort of detail, but I really wanted badges, like Nissan badges and GTST badges, just because I'm proud that it's a GTST. I didn't want to spend 45 to 50 bucks a piece on some pieces of plastic from Nissan in Japan. I actually vectorized and made my own GTST badges and Nissan badges out of stickers. These are, I believe, the OEM sizes and the measurements, like 11 millimeters here, 12 millimeters there, or 10 or 11 or something like that. It's like 43 from there. Same thing with this sort of measurement over here. This is the actual GTS font that they use on the actual badges, so it's something I think it's really cool. If you guys own a GTST and you're interested in getting me to remake your badges or your decals, or if you own a set of wheels that you can't find the stickers for, let me know and I'll try and finagle it, and you guys can kind of hire me out to do that stuff, because I know that's just it's the little details that count. So then as for the engine components, I don't care what you say, Ryan, these are Audi R8 coil packs, aka what every single ignition in brand new Volkswagens use. Shout outs to Phil for I'm still able to use this Nismo cap that got scratched. Whoops, I don't know if I did that or you did it. Strut tower brace. Here's my super ghetto way of fixing a broken light. It's solid though now. Super stoked. Probably need to replace the battery. Got a SPAC radiator valve cap, which is really cool. These, like, I'm assuming OEM intercooler. One of the old Blitz intakes. You can't hear it and it's probably super full of everything, but they're expensive, so I'm gonna run it for now. So that's all the good things. Like, this car, I'm in love. Like, it's way nicer than any Skyline I would have been able to afford, so shout out to Dom for letting me get this for such a good deal. It kind of got hoarded around in Omaha for about a month or so after it came up here from Texas, I think. So I don't really, there's a couple things that are missing from it that I don't know why they're like they are. They're just stupid fixes that happened that some owner must have done. Those are all the good things. Like, the car is super sick. It's got a bunch of parts. Like, it's literally exactly how I'd build the GTST besides like wheel size and height. But as for the bads, it's not a perfect car. Like, it has a weird starting thing that has to be a fuel pressure regulator. I'm scared it might be something with the ignition because there's like an aftermarket wiring harness that basically goes in place of that ignition chip on your stock coil packs. Might be something like that. Could be fuel pump related, fuel filter, a bunch of stuff I have to chase through. The suspension's a little wonky. It does have coilovers, some old Revos. It has aftermarket front tension rods. It's got a Heika's rear end lockout, which is cool, but the tie rods on the end of that are blown, so it still wobbles and stuff. Probably needs new differential bushings, but I mean, like, that's all normal stuff. Like, that's all stuff you have to do when you have a car like this. You know, like, it's like you're expectant of it. You know it's gonna happen, right? So I didn't expect this car to be something that I could drive cross country right off the bat. But that's kind of the thing I love about cars too, is you get to work on them and make them reliable and make them cool. So yeah, I'm gonna spend the rest of this day just kind of looking over a couple little things. Might do the fuel filter, kind of see what I can do, and then hopefully me, Russ, and Jesse are gonna get up on the lift in the next couple weeks, because I'm gonna have to start dailying this thing because a tree fell on my Subaru. Which, see, that's another beautiful connection that could be made with this. A tree at some point might have fell on this car in Japan. I hope it was flipped on Ebisu, because that would be super sick. And a tree fell on the Subaru. So it's like, it's the circle of life. Everything in my life's connected. It's terrifying, it's weird, but it's cool. So yeah, thanks again to all my friends that helped make this possible, and all you guys too. I never thought I'd own this car, and it's super sick. So please don't steal it from me. Please don't mess with it. Don't break this car. That'd be sick, because I'm really proud of it and I'm really happy with it. And I'm excited to have you guys on this journey and kind of see where I take this car, because I have a bunch of plans in store, but right now, I just need to be smart and get this thing solid so I can daily it.
You are going way too slow to catch up, you should speed up. Your music is funny, you should really do some stand up.